Ray, what if I told you there were untold riches buried nearby from a pirate who hid his gold here long ago?
I'd be interested to know what you dig.
Okay, what if I was a ghost and told you all of this?
I think I'd be a lot less interested in digging.
Yeah, but not Hiram Marble. Spirits told him to dig near a collapsed cave for pirate treasure, and dig he did for the next 16 years. But did he find gold? Hello, I'm Jeff Belanger.
And I'm Ray Auger.
Welcome to New England Legends, the Micro Podcast. Each week, we're going to bring you a story of legend and lore from somewhere in New England. We're calling this a Micro Podcast because each episode is going to be short.
Jeff, over the last 2 decades, you've written over a dozen books on strange paranormal tales. You host the New England Legends television show on PBS and Amazon Prime, and now you bring these stories to radio. I'm excited to work with you on this.
And Ray, you've worked in radio for 20 years. You're a musician, a music promoter, a storyteller in your own right with your Distracted Driving show. Plus, you're also a New England native. You're the perfect guy to do this with me.
So, where are we going this week?
Okay, Ray, when you think of pirates, what's the first location that comes to mind?
The Caribbean, maybe New Orleans?
Of course. And those were hot spots. But here in New England, we had our share of scallywags and buccaneers. Boston Harbor and New York Harbor were rich trading ports. And where there's riches, there's opportunity. So this week we're heading to Lynn Woods on the north shore of Boston, Massachusetts. You see, in spring of 1658, a ship appears in Lynn Harbor. Now, the ship was painted black. It had no flag flying from its mast, no Jolly Roger, no nothing.
I think I've seen this movie, Jeff.
Right. Now, some locals watched a small rowboat drop from the side of the ship while 4 sailors climbed aboard with a chest and some supplies. They rowed ashore and made camp in a place today known as Pirates Glen.
I guess it would have been too obvious if it was called Pirates Glen back then, right?
Right. They'd just be waiting for you to capture, right? It'd be too easy. So the British soldiers hear about this, and they capture 3 of the pirates and grant them an appointment with the gallows right away. But the 4th, Thomas Veal, he escapes into the woods where he finds a cave. Locals claim he kind of blended in over the next few weeks. He kept to himself, he didn't cause trouble, and he took odd jobs for money. But then there's this big earthquake, April 14th, 1658. This happened. Locals who ventured up near the cave where Thomas Veal took refuge find it's collapsed, and there's no sign of Veal either. It doesn't take long for someone to start thinking maybe he's buried under these rocks with a chest full of pirate gold.
Now, is the story of Thomas Veal true?
We're not sure, but here's what we do know. In 1824, Washington Irving published Tales of a Traveler with a story called The Devil and Tom Walker, and that story mentions the treasure of Captain Kidd being buried in a ridge above a swamp near Boston. Now, in 1829, Alonzo Lewis published a book called The History of Lynn that mentions the Thomas Veal pirate story and a place he called Dungeon Rock. And in 1834, a group of Lynn locals went up to that cave with some powder kegs and tried to blow up those rocks in an effort to unearth that treasure.
And did they find anything?
No, they did not. And if they did, they never told anyone. So now we have to fast forward to 1852. A man named Hiram Marble, who was part of the spiritualist movement.
Right, the spiritualist movement started in 1848. Didn't they believe they could communicate with the dead?
Exactly. Ray, that was their religion. And it's based off of mediumship or spirit communication. You know, the John Edwards, the Sylvia Browns. This is where it all began for them. So Hiram Marble was one of these early spiritualists. He claims a spirit told him to go to Dungeon Rock and start digging. He was told he'd find enough gold to build a large spiritualist church in Lynn and launch spiritualism to the world. So Hiram Marble buys the land around Dungeon Rock, builds himself a house, and starts digging every day.
So if this guy can find gold, he basically proves spiritualism for real.
That's right. If he finds gold, think about it. You'd mention Jerusalem, Mecca, and Lynn, Massachusetts all in the same breath.
But we don't mention them together, do we? I think I know how this ends.
Yeah, you're probably right. So for the next 16 years, Hiram Marble digs, blasts. He works that solid basalt rock with his son Edwin. He even sells bonds for $1 or $5 to locals, which entitles them to some of the riches when he finds them. Not if, when. Hiram dug until he died November 10th, 1886. And his son Edwin, under the direction of spirits, continued to dig until his own death, January 19th, 1880.
Now, how big was this tunnel?
So they made the tunnel 135 feet long. It was about 7 feet high and 7 feet wide. And it goes down and around in like this spiral until they hit a water table and could go no further. The strange thing is, they claim the spirits directed them to tunnel through the opposite side of the rock so they could eventually come up from under the cave-in and find the treasure.
Is there anything left there today?
So yeah, you can go to Lynn Woods and it's open to the public, and so is Hiram Marble's tunnel. But bring a flashlight, because once you get down past the door, it's completely dark. And you can follow the trail all the way down and see how far they got.
So these guys must have really believed in what they were doing.
And I think that's the biggest takeaway here. It's why we keep talking about this legend. Digging that tunnel was a test of their faith, and they saw it through to their death. And the strange thing is, having been there myself, it's this big rock, and you can see on one side where the cave-in is. And Hiram Marble went into this weird crevice in the middle and went in the opposite direction. It was the most inefficient way you could possibly go to try to get to the treasure. But he did it until the day he died, and so did his son.
And you have to respect that.
In a weird way, you kind of do. Check back with us next week when we bring you another strange but true tale from somewhere in New England.
And we want you guys involved. If you have a story you've heard that you want us to check out,
could be a monster, ghost, alien, or just some odd bit of history,
just let us know. You can email us at info@ournewenglandlegends.com. We'll also make each episode available on Jeff Belanger's Facebook page and link to it from ournewenglandlegends.com. Until next time, remember, the bizarre is closer than you think.